have a whole lot of rules when it comes to offering opinion on hockey myself, meaning rules that I impose on myself. I've got one, though. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Oilers 5, Panthers 3 in Game 5 last night in Sunrise. That allows the series to go back to Edmonton with the Panthers up 3-2. And I'll get into what I think about the game in a little bit here. I have a big nit to pick with anyone and everyone who observed Connor McDavid's goal and then later a spectacular assist and was moved to compare one or the other or both to things that Mario Lemieux did. Now, I'm only one person, and my self-rules should obviously only apply to myself. But that won't stop me from saying it out loud. No, just no. Please don't do that. Please don't put forth the things that you're witnessing from McDavid or any other player, including Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, whoever, that it's like something that Mario did or it's at the level that Mario could achieve. No, 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 and no to all of the above. Sure, McDavid firing a puck past Sergei Bobrovsky from a severe angle upstairs is a wonderful thing. It's an elite thing. He does it fairly regularly, too. He will snipe from anywhere, and he'll do so with deadly precision. Bob's not the first, and he won't be the last to get beaten that way. And yeah, McDavid had an extraordinary assist on Corey Perry's goal, splitting the Florida defense, making his way in tight enough that he could lure Bob out and then sending it across to Perry for what amounted to a tap-in. Here again, McDavid has a specialty, and he's probably better at this than anyone who ever lived, as long as we're in comparison mode, where he slows down and then starts up. I don't know that I've ever seen a player do that, much less one with his incredible, arguably unprecedented ability to go 0 to 60. And he'll actually live that out. He'll start at 0 and go 60. And the defensemen are just naturally caught flat-footed. He had a goal like that this year against the Rangers. He had a goal like that this year against the Flyers. This was an assist, but it was the same move. Outstanding. Not taking anything away from him. Not Mario. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Because here's the problem with invoking Mario. As opposed to just saying that Connor McDavid does this one Connor McDavid thing or these two Connor McDavid things better than anybody ever, there's no need to bring 66 into it. Because what 66 did and the level that he reached and the level that he'll almost certainly never forfeit is that he did everything at levels like that. There's never been a player akin to that. There might never be another. That probably didn't fully dawn on the hockey world until no less an authority than Viktor Tikhonov, the legendary coach of the Russian Central Red Army and Olympic teams, declared Mario to be the greatest goal scorer he'd ever seen following the '87 Canada Cup. Not playmaker, the way we'd principally thought of him in Pittsburgh. Not all the size and speed and grace and everything else and the extraordinary combo therein. Goal scorer. And it wasn't until Mario came back from his initial retirement that we all got to see, oh, that, yeah. Mario did everything, and he did it in every circumstance, every scenario. First day out of chemo in Philadelphia, unable to tie his own skate laces in the playoffs. Banged up, beaten up, lassoed, hog-tied, thrown to the ice. Way back before the NHL was calling any of this stuff. If you think it's bad now, the officiating, you have no idea what it used to be. And still better than everyone else at everything. And believe me, I'm tempted at times. There are certain... It's not so much Sid. It's more Gino. When Gino is at his absolute optimal, you'll see similarities. It might just be that rev up coming out of his own end through the neutral zone where it looks like he's about to take over the rink. When Mario would do that, it was game over. I mean, he's coming to take your team down. Every once in a while, I'll see Gino do something like that. Still, even now. And I'll think to myself about 66 doing it. But you know what I won't do? I won't share it. I won't talk about it. I won't write it. I won't say, boy, Gino looks like Mario tonight. It's just stupid, And Sid still is and really always has been such a different player. They play the same position and everything else here, but there's so little in common. Probably the highest Mario-type compliment that you can give to Sid is the vision and the ability to execute passes in all different forms. Sid has that. Sid has always had that. Does he have it at the Mario level? I mean, I don't even want to answer that. I don't want to talk about it because it sounds like it's taking a shot at Sid. Sid's one of the 4 or 5 best players who's ever lived. But Mario's the best. He's the best player this sport's ever seen and ever will see. And please don't waste my time with Wayne Gretzky's point total, okay? Because there's no one who'd agree with me more on this count than 99 himself. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Kate, who says, I don't think Florida's done. I mean, I've been cheering for the Oilers the whole series, but I still think the Panthers will win. At least it's a real series now, which is far more entertaining, right? Well, yeah, it's more entertaining. I'm happy that the Stanley Cup final won't be a sweep, even though I predicted Florida in 3, and if only my math was on board, the Panthers would have already been champions, right? The series going to Game 6 back to Edmonton is going to make for quite the spectacle. Those people, if you think about it up there, really haven't had an opportunity even to breathe from the beginning of the series. The one time that they enjoyed anything, it was Game 4, but it almost felt like, having a good time at the funeral, going up 8-1 and all that other stuff. And way to go, boys. You had a nice season and everything else. Well, now it's a little bit different. I also happen to feel, Kate, as you do, that the Panthers are going to win, and not just because of the obvious math here. What I was watching for, more than anything, is if the Panthers were experiencing the same thing that their own opponents had on their run through the Eastern Conference. If you think about it, when the Panthers went through the Lightning, Bruins, Rangers, by the time those series were close to done or done, you didn't even recognize their opponents. They didn't have much left. They'd been beaten up physically. They'd been worn down. They'd been out-depthed, which is not a verb, but I'm using it anyway. And there were parts, especially the early parts of Game 5 last night, that I thought had taken on some of that color, meaning from the positive Edmonton perspective. The Oilers can skate right around you. They can wear you down in that way. But then the Panthers really poured it on. From the second half of the second period, and then pretty much all through the third period, you saw the best of the Panthers. You saw that version of the team that ran through the East. I don't think they're about to take a step backward. I really don't. I think they're going to go all the way up to Alberta and take care of business. I'm reminded, and I think some of you will enjoy this, of a conversation that I had with Oli Mata on both the morning of Game 6 in San Jose and then later that night, way after everybody was already celebrating. Oli told me that it was a great motivator to the Penguins to not have to fly home after a loss in Game 6. Not so much because they'd fear Game 7 or think less of themselves or whatever. They didn't want the flight. They didn't want the 5-hour flight from San Jose to Pittsburgh and all of the misery and silence and everything else that it would bring. And he didn't specify who he meant, but players who were the leaders on the team, one of the things that they talked about that morning around the time of the skate that had them so intense that day, more intense than before any game I've ever covered in any sport, was partly that idea that they'd have to just be so miserable for such a long period of time. And if you're not familiar with this sort of thing in the sporting culture, like you don't play music in your locker room when you lose. You don't play it on the flight home when you lose. You don't have a good time. You don't yuck it up. Maybe that's just an old school thing. Maybe that's just a coaching thing that'll never go away. But it's very much real. They had made up their minds that they were going to do their celebrating right then and there. They had an opportunity to get it done in Game 5 in Pittsburgh, and they didn't get it done. That would have been, for those who don't know, the first championship on our city's soil since Bill Mazeroski's home run. And if you think about it, that's what it would have been. Because the Steelers won all of their Super Bowls somewhere else, neutral sites, and the Pirates won both of their World Series after that in 1971 and 1979 in Baltimore. So the Penguins had a chance, didn't get it. All right, whatever. We're going to do it right here. We're going to do it right here. We were not taking this on the flight with us. Loved it. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. Going to do another one of these tomorrow.